Today we have a very special episode of Cosmic Road, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We are joined today once again by a friend of the channel, John Stewart. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you, Jack. I'm not only a friend, I'm becoming like an unpaid employee. I mean, I do more research and work for you than my own corporate job, but
I love
I'm
it.
joking. I'm joking.
I love it, and thank you for it. You've come up with some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're new
Thank
to the
you.
channel or new to John, he's the one that did so much investigation on the alien interview that he got Richard Dolan on board, as well as others. And he's done some amazing work of breaking the Lockheed Martin JSOC firefight story, which I think is a very important story, and a lot of other great work besides. But today we're going to have some fun talking about the Bugga Sphere, that strange artifact that may actually be a recovered UFO from South America. I love this story, John.
Yeah, I do too. The first time that I saw the entire little blip on it on the internet, I said, well, I don't see the writing or the etching on the sphere as it's in the air, and I kind of question how they could find it in the jungle or the forest or and but from what Jaime Musan says, and this is a great, folks, I just want to be clear. um I asked Jack, should I run the Bugga Sphere through my AI software, which I have, which has been really, really great for me for analyzing a lot of things. And Jack said, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what AI said about it." And I sent a picture of the Bugga Sphere, and Jack, as you can attest, that I will read on, and I hope I don't bore anybody, but I will read exactly what AI said. I mean, this is like CIA university level hypothesis. We first, we don't definitively know what this is. Oh, I think your viewers and your listeners are really going to find this interesting, and I am going to be reading it for the first time. I did a glance at some of the things, and I was like, "Holy cow! This is really university level analysis. Whether it's correct or not, I think it's something that we all should hear, or anybody that's interested in this sphere. And if you wanted me to start with it, I also contacted Mexican UFO famed researcher Jaime Musan. He's the Linda Moulton Howe of Mexico. He has this sphere in his possession. And maybe I should start with what he texted me this morning.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. The Linda Moulton Howe of Mexico
Yeah,
with
yeah,
fewer cats. You need some more
yeah,
cats, but yeah. But okay, yeah, let's start with
right.
Jaime. What does Jaime have to say?
Okay, so I texted Jaime last night before we decided we were going to do this, and this is what Jaime Musan, who has this sphere in his possession. John, we have so many irregularities. It's some there is something inside. I'm trying to retranscribe his texting. The sphere has been affected by objects on the outside. It's damaged because it rotates at such a high speed, and the outside must have collected dust or sand and other objects, which has affected its core. They are certain that there is a core to this sphere. It seems to be very old, and the symbols are still a real mystery. Monday, I think this is breaking news. Monday, it's going to the National University of Mexico, and I'm like, wow, that's a great text. He sends me another text. By the way, this gives me a chill, and I don't mean that as a pun. His last text to me, Jaime Musan, was, the temperature changes constantly. So does the hardness of the outside shell and the weight.
That is
That's
so weird.
weird. That is bizarre. So, because I tell you, I looked at many pictures of it, and it does look old, but the etching of all of the symbols, other than the center symbol, does look like somebody. traced it, and then did it by hand with whatever machinery or laser or diamond cutting, because it's not perfect. Those crescent moon shapes, if I'm, just trying to describe it, it doesn't look perfect. The symbols look like they are drawn by hand, not with like machinery precision. Although the center of it, that what AI calls like a microchip or integrated circuit, does look like that was machine done with precision. So I'm just telling people that I initially thought not maybe something, interdimensional, uh, from another solar system or planet or alien, might have been sketched by human hands. What Jaime Musan describes in his text, I think that throws my opinion out the window. So I'd like
Yeah,
you to read. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. It's just, I mean, the Bugga Sphere is just so weird because it is so anomalous. Like temperature
Yeah.
changes, density changes. That doesn't
Come
make any
on.
sense. But they have
Right.
this glyph, this symbol on it that, yeah, like you say, seems handmade, like human made.
Yeah.
Almost makes me think it's like alien technology that humans recovered and then put a symbol on it for some reason. Uh,
Thank
but
you. That is my God. This is why I come on your show, Jack. That is exactly what I thought. That this was recovered thousands of years ago. They saw that integrated circuitry symbol on the center of it, and then whomever captured it, did their own etching on it. Right? Could that be possible? Who knows?
totally possible. Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay, yeah, keep on.
No, no, that was great. Please interrupt me at any time. So Jack thought it was a great idea. So did I, that we run this through AI. So let me please begin. I hope I don't bore anybody, but this is really, really interesting. And I told AI to use whatever means possible. It won't do anything illegal. Not that I've tried. It won't it won't do anything illegal, but I said it all use all means possible to decipher what this could possibly be. Okay. It starts with the center symbol. The central design resembles a microchip or integrated circuit, stylized with radial lines leading to gold nodes. This is highly reminiscent of a silicone based circuit schematics, a neural network diagrams, solar diagrams in symbolic language, and artificial intelligence visualization of interconnected nodes, because there's little round nodes on the end of that circuitry on the center. Interesting here. This likely implies a reference to information processing, communication, or energy distribution. Pretty interesting. Surrounding characteristics. These symbols circling the center are not from any known human alphabet, but they show elements consistent with, this is interesting. Pay attention here. These symbols circling the center in, invented or constructed alien language like those in Arrival, Stargate, and Roswell style glyphs. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me break. And the one of the alien movies came on where the small alien fights the bigger alien at the like a school by a playground. I forget what alien.
Small
Predator,
alien
sorry,
bites a big
Predator.
alien on a
Predator, the
playground.
Predator, the Predator movie um before the one with with the Native American Indians.
I
The
guess I
Predator
haven't
movie
seen
with
that
the
one.
big predator fights the small predator, and the predator is looking for one of the face shields. And on the face shield, I went, whoa, and I stopped the movie. This was yesterday. There's been a lot of weird divine things in my life. This is like par for the course, like I was shown this in the symbols that the production company drew etched on the predator face mask had some similarity to this sphere. I'm not bursting bubbles, like the like rune stone symbols where it's slashes and a couple of dots above it. That's reminiscent of Norse or rune stone stones. So it did remind me of the sphere. I'm not bursting
Yeah,
bubbles,
no,
but
I think that's a great point because
yeah,
if you're not familiar with the symbol that we're talking about and the language we're talking about, there's this interesting glyph or symbol on the sphere. And then there's some writing, I believe, in a circle around it.
Yeah.
And just like you say, John, is just like how we would kind of imagine alien writing to be. But
Yes.
is that
Yeah.
because we're imagining it and somebody made it
Right.
to look
Right.
like we imagined it, or is it
Yeah.
actually alien writing?
Yeah. Yeah. When
Man.
I saw the dots above the one symbol on the Hollywood produced Predator show, I'm like, that one of those similar with dots above it is on it, but that's also a familiar alphabet of rune characters.
Now,
Scott
to be
Scott
fair, in some of the alien writing we've seen, like that Danny Sheehan has produced and others
right.
show alien writing with dots and dashes seems like
Yes,
a
he does.
big part of their alphabet, if you will.
Yeah, Danny's got one where I think it's like a slow, like elongated S, which is on this sphere. And it's Scott Walter is the guy from American Unearthed. He's a friend of mine. I'm name dropping here. No, but he is one of the experts on rune stones and that type of symbols and writing. Okay. So AI also says possibly the writings. Theban script used in Wicca in occult texts. Enochian, John Dee's angelic language. Remember, folks, somebody was talking to me about Enochian language when it came to the alien interview or something with that. There's been so much stuff that I can't remember, but I remember talking about this Enochian language when it came to the alien interview. Somebody was telling me about that.
John D comes up a surprising amount in the research. He really an
Not
interesting
really.
character.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Interesting. It also says it's similar a little bit to Japanese katakana or Ainu inspired symbols. Though these are visually similar, they do not translate into Japanese. So this is great. So AI is saying to us, I translated it. It looks like Japanese katakana symbols, but it doesn't translate into a language. So that's great. It's like something that would be a question I would ask. Well, did you translate it if it looks like Japanese katakana? And AI tried to, and it came up with nothing. Linear A, linear B from ancient Crete, though these also don't directly match. So it's got similarities to a lot of different archaic languages, but AI is telling us there is no specific direct match. I think that's interesting. I think that's interesting. Many appear to be mirror symmetric, which is often a hallmark of glyphs used in fictional or speculative extraterrestrial communication systems, possibly to imply universal intelligibility or aesthetic neutrality. I cannot believe I pronounced those words right. So that's interesting. Many appear to mirror symmetric, which is often a hallmark of glyphs used in fictional, fake, or speculative extraterrestrial communication systems. Very interesting.
Of course,
Okay.
AI is always going to have the mainstream interpretation of this stuff. It's
Yes.
never going to just flat out say, "Hey, there's aliens, and maybe this is alien."
True. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just
Very true. Okay, some of the repeating features: triangles with dots, loops, and crossbars, V like chevrons, that's like the arrow, and broken lines. Symbols resembling astrological or alchemical notations, i.e., example, Mars, Mercury, or conjunction symbols. Cuneiform like impressions, though they do not match any Sumero Akkadian characters. So, again, a lot of similarities, but AI is coming up with no definitive matches. AI then is talking about surface design and composition. The outer pattern outside the polished metal plate resembles etched alloy or composite material, possibly ceramic or titanium based design. The backdrop geometry is similar to crop circle iconography, often associated with supposed UFO landings. Now, that to me is pretty interesting.
yeah,
That
that's
that
very interesting. I want to know the connection between this and crop circles,
Well, yeah, Jack, do
because
you go
you
ahead?
know, in alien lore, we don't get a lot of aliens or beings in HI, devoted to art or music. We don't have a lot of,
Okay.
paintings or any art from
Yeah.
them. But we do have the crop circles, which do have very beautiful designs. and this also has a very beautiful design on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, could there be a connection?
Well, I'm asking you, Jack. So this statement, help me with this. So is that what you're saying, that the backdrop geometry is similar to crop circle iconography, so usually associated with landing? So it's saying that it has like a similar artistic feel to it. Is that what you think, that's what that line
That's
means?
what it sounds like.
Yeah.
That it just is reminiscent of a crop circle
Yeah.
in its the patterns and its overall aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Crop circles have an aesthetic now that is now
Yeah, they sure
transferred
do.
onto other
No, they,
things.
oh my God, you're right. They're geometrically, they're gorgeous. They're
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay. Analysis based on cross-disciplinary studies. See, this is something that would take a nitwit like me 4 years of going to university libraries. AI does it in a matter of minutes. It's unbelievable. Analysis based on cross-disciplinary study. It says here's a table comparing potential influences. Feature comparable systems, interpretation, circular node design, microchip chip neuron maps, communication or control hub, symbols, invented glyphs similar to Enochian and alien artifacts, a language or code, material and style. Interesting about this, aerospace alloys or artistic recreations, possible symbolic artifact, radial symmetry, which it does, sacred geometry. Then now that's interesting. That line that AI said it also, it's got a feel that it's got sacred geometry or electrical engineering, mixing the two. I think that's a telling line that what AI said. And the last was signal or function encoding. So it goes on. Possible interpretations. Technological artifact simulation designed to mimic alien black box or advanced tech. Communication device or marker. Communication device or marker. The circular script could represent a message or instructions, similar to the Voyager Golden Record or alien warning beacons in speculative fiction. Now, remember, on the Voyager, and I believe, yes, it was on the Voyager, where Richard Nixon signed his name, and we put what a kind of a representation of humans, a man and a woman, and the I believe we also did the Leonardo da Vinci Man. We drew these our solar system and where we were in the solar system etched on this metal disc that was put to the side of the Voyager. So that's what I think, Jack. If I'm wrong, step in. That's what I think, that AI is also speculating that this could be similar to what we did to communicate with anybody that would find the Voyager spacecraft.
Assuming they were intelligent enough to decode it, and yeah, we'll see if we're intelligent enough to decode this. But we're trying, right?
We sure are. The last thing it said was it could be a possible art project or ARG component. Do you know what ARG component means? I don't know what
No,
that
I don't know
means.
the answer.
Okay. I'm also thinking a marketing ploy or, whatever. So this could also be part of an immersive alternative reality game. Okay, I was right. Or a conceptual art project invoking UFO aesthetics. But let's go back to what Jaime said 2 hours ago, ladies and gentlemen. Changes weight, changes temperature. That's freaky. And
Yes.
Jaime has been, I have been communicating with Mr. Musan for 6 years about the alien interview investigation. That guy has been straight as an arrow with me. He would not, gild a lily, so to speak, to hype up a story as far as I have been talking to him for the past 6 years. And now we finally get the AI final thoughts. At present, the symbols do not correspond to any known language. I think that's interesting. Ancient script or scientific iconography in official or archaeological records. However, the combination of electronic circuitry imagery, non terrestrial script design, and radial symmetry. So it's saying it's not corresponding to anything, but it's got three different, right, components of unusual, unusual etchings. The use of metallic substrate strongly points to either a high concept science fiction prop. We have to entertain that possibility. deliberate UFO hoax artifact, which I think Jaime Musan's text to me this morning dispels that. Jack, jump in if you disagree.
No,
I,
the research that I've seen on this object, like you were saying, temperature changes, density changes. They've done some scans of the interior that show some
yeah,
really weird stuff in there.
yeah. And Jaime
Possible
says there's something in the core. So that, right. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah,
and there's health effects on the guy that found it. He was nauseous and stuff, which
yeah,
you hear time and again from people that come
yeah,
too close to UFOs sometimes. And so yeah, there's some really anomalous features to this whole thing. Not to mention if this is actually the object that was in the sky that was filmed zooming around the sky and then falling out of the sky. If some switch wasn't made, if this is that object, then this thing was flying around with no visible means of propulsion, no cameras on it. So I mean, how did it know where it was going? So very advanced. If this is that object, and then it has this crazy glyph design on it with this alphabet, and you've used AI to decode it. I think that's super fascinating. What you were getting,
yeah.
combining alchemy, sacred geometry, runes, all sorts of things. If this was a hoax, what a hoax! They went through so much trouble.
How do you change the weight?
Just in the design alone. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
well, let's say they found an anomalous object and put some etchings on it. Uh, they went through so much trouble to put some etchings on it. Like you were saying, combining all these different things, and really getting our imagination sparked, which is, why we're talking about this, because this is such an exciting thing. There
yeah,
is possibly a UFO right now, not in the hands of the government, the control group, anybody. In hands of civilian researchers in Mexico and
that's right.
South America. I think that's brilliant. I think that is maybe the way for disclosure to happen. And it's up to people like you and me to make sense of this.
Yeah,
And I love that you are on this and that you're working on it.
thank you.
What are your thoughts about all this?
Let me read the last little sentence, which goes back to what you and I think this is, which is something that came to Earth thousands of years ago. Because the writing, I think archaeologists and linguists have interpreted writing from about 7,000 years back until present day. So we have to assume, unless it's some Amazonian secret language, that this is older than 7,000 years ago, and that what you and I are suspecting that somebody, some ancient culture found this, etched it, and it took off again. And listen to what the last sentence of AI says. Or this could be a conceptual art piece inspired by the intersection of ancient astronaut theory or microtechnology. If this object is part of a larger case or has physical context where it was found, who discovered it, any associated video, that could help narrow the origin or even further. And again, I think you and I, Jack, without sounding superior and an intellect or whatever, but I think the fact that this sphere, and this is my conclusion, that this sphere, from like you said, is in the sky with no visible propulsion, no visible GPS or cameras. Jaime Musan is telling us it's changing temperature, it's changing weight by the minute. Um, and we can see, Jack, that it is very obvious human or some kind of non-machine etching has been done to this, other than the circuitry grid. I think that you and I, that our belief is true. This came to Earth thousands of years ago. Some indigenous tribe in Central South America found it, etched their own etchings. It imagined itself, I'm sorry, reanimated itself, and we see it again in the skies, and I think that's what we're seeing, because I don't think indigenous tribes 7,000 years ago or a Hollywood prop master could make an object that could float on its own, use its own GPS, and change temperature and weight. Jaime said it is changing weight by the minute.
What can change? I wish I could change
Don't
my weight that
know.
easily. Yeah.
Yeah. I took my
Tacos
shirt
all day
off in the
long.
dressing room this morning at Marshall's. Yeah, I wish I could change weight, but yeah, you're
Okay,
right. It's
I wanted
amazing.
to read you something.
Okay,
Okay, because there's an article in the Daily Mail that went over some of the researchers that are studying this, because they also used AI to, try to figure this thing out. And I
okay,
want to get their names. One of them
great.
is Dr.
Yeah,
Jose Luis
interesting.
Velasquez, a radiologist who examined the sphere, who he reported no welds or joints, and his team concluded it is of artificial origin. Okay, but so the team compared this to ancient scripts, just like you were saying, including runes, Ogham, which I had never heard of, and Mesopotamian writing systems. So
Yeah.
doing very similar to your findings. Using AI to assist in deciphering the design, the team interpreted the message to read the origin of birth through union and energy in the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion in consciousness, individual consciousness. We interpret it as a message to humanity, encouraging a collective shift in consciousness to help Mother Earth, especially considering the current issues with pollution and environmental decline. Now, of course, that's their own take on it, but yeah, their AI was saying, it was really kind of a synthesis of
Interesting.
what you were getting, I think, in a way.
Yeah.
Combining, energy grids and the esoteric stuff. They were getting very similar stuff. The origin, the message, according to them, according to this AI, reads the origin of birth through union and energy in the
Hmm.
cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion in consciousness, individual consciousness. So yeah, I thought that was really wild, and
Wow.
it seems to go very well with what you were getting, kind of, just synthesizing it a little bit, but yours has a lot more detail and goes into a lot more possibilities. And I just think that's amazing. I want to know what this thing is, John. What
I
is
do
this
too.
thing?
The fact that it has no rivets, no welding, it's one piece. I don't. Do we have that technology? I don't think so. At some point, the machine that's make even 3D printing, the machine has to stop and clip off like an old musket ball. You have to clip off the. I mean, you can't. It's unbelievable. But again, folks, take this to the bank. The guy that's got it in front of him is telling us this morning, changing weight by the minute, changes temperature by the minute.
Okay, now
It's
this gets a
unbelievable.
little speculative, but one of the most, if not the most common types of UFO that get seen around the world are these spheres.
Yeah,
Do
I
you,
saw one. This was my
what?
UFO.
Okay, yeah, tell me
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, in Blue Diamond, Nevada. We went to the petroglyphs. My Italian wife and her Italian sister are two cacadones chatting about while I'm trying to be solemn in front of these petroglyphs. But I touched the one petroglyph. I got right up to it, but you're not supposed to. And I said in my mind, I am in reverence to whoever drew this and why or what they saw who drew this. And I wanted to display reverence and I touched it. And we got back in the car and they're chatting and I'm in the back seat and I look up in the sky. This is right over this bizarre like trailer park town called Blue Diamond, Nevada. And I look up and I see, I'm like, oh, there's a really shiny American Airlines nose cone. I'm like, but there's nothing behind it. Like, I said it looked like a beach ball, but a way bigger beach ball around 2,500 feet in the air. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, that's very interesting. I said, ladies, will you look to your right? There, and I looked to the right, it was there. And as soon as I looked at it, it did not dissolve. I tell everybody, I made a MUFON report about it. It didn't dissolve. It's switched off. If does that make sense? It was gone. I mean, it was boom, switched off, and there was nothing there. But it was spherical. Again, I would say it was the entire big nose cone size of an airliner, although there was no airliner. It was a round, huge beach ball in the air, about 2,500 feet above the air. And on the internet, there's been hundreds of sightings above this Blue Diamond, Nevada, which is right near the glyphs in Nevada. I don't. forgive me, I don't remember what the glyphs. I don't think it's called Red Rock State Park, but it could. Um, but yeah, that was so again, I don't mean to interrupt. I didn't mean to interrupt you with that long story, but yeah,
No,
my
that
only
was an
UFO
amazing story. I
encounter,
love it, John. That's terrific.
yeah,
Did you have
and
any
it was a MUFON
associated
report.
did you have any associated phenomena? Any weird dreams or ghosts or any other activity during that time period?
Yeah, no, no, I didn't. I just thought, man, I need to make a MUFON report, and the guy, real nice guy that did the MUFON report. He cross-checked airliners, traffic, helicopter, military. Came back to me a day later. He's like, "Mr. Stewart, there was nothing in the area at the time you saw it." And and he said, "But we've had many reports above this. Again, it was a half a mile from the petroglyphs that most people think were drawn by Native American Indians due to inter stellar or alien landings or whatnot. And I mean, bizarro world. When you get to those petroglyphs, even my wife and my sister in law, who are not into UFOs, were like, something's weird here. It was a weird feeling. It's like a little very shallow canyon. Very weird. And I only experienced that one time when I was going to see an alleged Dogman Bigfoot sighting area in the Avon Bottoms in Wisconsin. I'm not being comical here. I'm being dead serious. A young lady named Katie Zahn and her friends were at the Sugar Creek River in the Avon Bottoms in northern Wisconsin, and she said she claimed she saw a dog man drinking water with two hands, or there's been many Bigfoot sightings. When I entered the half mile area of that vicinity of the boat launch on this river, and the trees were like Wizard of Oz apple trees with there was a feeling, and I am Jack, you've known me for 5 years. I'm not creepy guy. I'm not melodramatic. I try not to be. I give you the real scoop. There was a dread that came over me, and it was the same feeling. Not was more creepier than dread when I went to that Red Rock. I believe it was the Red Rock State Park in Nevada, where these petroglyphs were a half a mile from Blue Diamond, Nevada. The feeling was palpable. So.
That's incredible,
Yeah,
John. But
yeah,
so you didn't see a dog man at that time.
no, but it was creepy as you know what.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
remember texting my wife like this is, and we went. And I met three other people out there, two retired ladies that worked for the post office, and then they got a former Marine that met us out there again, or met us out there as a little informal team. His name was Jim, who had a sidearm, which was a little. I'm like, oh my god, I'm with strangers basically. Um, but the retired ladies were like, I feel weird. It's weird here. This is, so there's some kind of like, I would just say like it's obvious that what happens on Earth at times, if it's memorable there's a electronic signature or a marker or a litmus paper sometimes, I believe, in certain areas of this planet because I felt it. And I'm not creepy guy, and I am everything. I try to be everything against, the esoteric and and stuff like that. And that those petroglyphs, and I had this compulsion to get in trouble, cross the barrier, and go up to them. And I touched one of them. I believe it was just, again, I'm giving you facts here. It was the beaver tail, they called it. It looked like the a beaver tail drawn with lines and then cross lines. It looked like and I called it the beaver tail. You can look it up. And I touched that beaver tail and I said, whoever drew this, I am here solely out of reverence. I'm sorry I crossed the barrier. And boom, 10 minutes later, I see a UFO. So pretty weird.
what tribe did that belong to?
I don't know. I wish I should research it more. But again, it's the petroglyphs half a mile from Blue Diamond, Nevada. Yeah, Nevada.
That's an amazing event, man.
Yeah, yeah,
My own major UFO sighting, I've had a few of them, but I had one really notable one that was connected to consciousness and spirituality, and it was clearly something was interacting with my consciousness, and it was just an incredible experience,
yeah.
and it was very spiritual, and yeah, I don't know what it all means.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't either. I don't. I'm going to try and do. Now I know. I know. Oh my God, I'm going to get eviscerated right now. But I, you're my friend, and I speak my heart and my mind. I am going to try and do psionics up at my summer home in Upper Michigan. There's two Michigans. I know. I always say there's one on the right side of Lake Michigan and one above northern Wisconsin, and we have a family summer home that we've had up there since the '60s. My aunt, my two aunts, and my two uncles had a what they said was like sparklers, like a city of sparkles, shiny sparklers below this craft, about 1,000 feet above them, right by Nelma, Wisconsin, and they remember losing a little bit of time, and then no one speaking about her for hours. We all, my whole family saw one it was changing colors very far in the sky. Some people say it was dancing Venus, could be. And then I saw, and I can't say it was a UFO because it wasn't like the sphere. It's still anomalous, but I saw a white dot cross the far sky by like over Waters Meet, Michigan, and it went like a loop-de-loop in the middle of the night and then flew off again very slowly. But I don't think a Cessna pilot or an aerial acrobatic pilot in the middle of the night in Upper Michigan is doing loop de loops. So, but
yeah.
I still don't know about that one. So I am going to try psionics this Memorial Day or 4th of July. Well, I'm sure all of my family will be laughing at me, but I am going to try it and see if I can't conjure up something, because there's certainly been a lot of weird activity just with my family alone in that region.
Oh yeah,
So we'll
I'm
see what
doing
happens.
a CE5 with my UFO group in a few weeks. We're having our sky watch. We're going to a, place of a lot of high strangeness. It's a couple hours drive from here, but there's ghosts, there's UFOs, there's Native Americans that have been found buried in urns, weirdly, which
No,
I've never
that's
heard of
yeah,
that.
yeah. Native Americans didn't do that.
They didn't do
That's
that,
weird.
but
No.
these bodies were found in urns underground by somebody with a backhoe or something. And yeah, putting in anyway, whatever. So we're
Yeah.
gonna go there. We're gonna do some CE5, and there's all sorts of crazy stuff out there. So hopefully we'll
Where
have
is
a.
this at, or do you not want to tell me the location?
I don't know. It's outside of Houston in the country.
Oh, okay, cool,
You're
cool.
invited if you want to come on down.
Good luck with that. That no, it sounds interesting. I would love to
But
do that one time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, thank you for. Oh, well, before we say goodbye, I wanted to ask you because we were talking about all the spheres that are out there and how that's the most common UFO sighting. To go back to the Bugga Sphere, do you think they are all Bugga spheres of different sizes?
I would have to think it. I said it on a podcast sometime a long time ago. I still believe this to this day, that the planet, by one species or many, is being mapped, contour mapped, or just continually being observed. Like any good general, any good uh, military person, any good geographer would do. Whether it's the continual monitoring or preparing what a general told me in the Pentagon, the battlefield, a battlefield mapping. And I do believe that that's what these spheres are doing, that they are either continually monitoring this planet, or they are doing pre-battlefield mapping.
Well, I hope it's not
As
pre-battlefield
scary as that
mapping.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I hope so either. I hope that's not the case either. I think it's more consistent, continual monitoring of our planet, of the growth of our civilization, good and bad, and I hope that that's what it turns out to be.
All right. Well, amen. I think that's a great place to end it on. And thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming on the show, sharing your research, your communications with Jaime, and your own personal experiences. I thought that was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if I text me back, I will text you, Jack, and you could put it out to your viewers or whatever. Yeah, we'll see what he says. It's going to be interesting with the University
yeah.
of, I think, Mexico University. I think that's what he wrote me. It's going to be interesting.
I can't wait for more research to come out on this thing. I'm just
Yeah,
fascinated by whatever the hell it is.
yeah, Jack,
Is it
we've
John?
got
Is
your
it?
Nazca mummies. We've got a we've we've got possibly, most likely, like, yeah, I think you said it perfectly. I love you for saying this. A UFO that's not in the hands of the United States
Yeah,
government.
that's huge.
We've got a potential video of an extraterrestrial in my video.
That's right.
Um, we've got military people coming forward and scientists and doctors and from NASA, from all types of disciplines from the United States government saying this phenomenon is real. We are at the precipice of massive disclosure, and I think it's exciting.
How can they hold the lid on this any longer? I think the
Yeah,
dam is about to break. It really feels like it. It
I
really,
agree.
really
I
does.
agree. I
All right.
agree.
Well, until
Okay.
you come on the show next time, where can people find you? And do you have any projects that people should know about?
Yeah, I'd like to announce, and I'm not jinxing it, but the Hunting Victor documentary is very close to a worldwide presentation. I'm not
Nice.
jinxing it. Yeah, very excited about that. And I'm not excited about that I'm going to be a television star. I'm not, folks. I've been on TV since '86. I'm excited that, and Jack, again, I speak the truth. I am mostly excited that we will have a basket full of money to do the high quality research that it deserved. A more intensive, a more intensive a video analysis using AI, using 2025 technology instead of 2000 technology, recreating the animatronic alien with 2025 technology to see if it'll match 1996 technology, if it is non-authentic. So that is what I am really excited about.
That's pretty great, man. I can't
And yeah,
wait to
nobody
see
can get
it.
me on. I'm sorry. I'm having trouble with the in my YouTube Hunting Victor investigation, or my email, John Allen Stewart at AOL.com, spelled JONALANSTEWART at AOL.com. I keep getting great emails from your listeners. It's been awesome. And sorry for the interruption, but it's my iPod earphones are funky. So, but thank you for having me on, and thank you for letting me talk about this.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show, John. I loved it, and I can't wait to have you back.
Thanks, Jack.